Hello, American Patriots. Welcome to another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. Tonight, we're going to continue talking about what is going on our southern border with Mexico. We're going to discuss the things that we came across when we interviewed Dr. Michael Vickers, a Brooks County rancher, veterinarian, and also a member of a group of American patriots that patrol the area of Brooks County and report back to or apprehend and hold illegal immigrants until the Border Patrol is able to come and take them into custody. We spent some time with Dr. Vickers. We interviewed him and went around his property, their command post center, and I want to share that with you all so that you can see and hear exactly what is being experienced, not directly on the border, but many miles north of the border, just past the last checkpoint that one has to go through in order to continue on into America. Basically, if you manage to get across the border and not get captured, then the coyotes will pick you up via car or truck and they will transport you north. You cannot continue going north without going through another checkpoint. So prior to that checkpoint, they drop you off. You go back off into the fields on the left or right of the interstate, and you try and make your way past that checkpoint where they will pick you up on the other side. That is where Dr. Vickers' ranch is located. And that is where he is finding dead bodies and people that are out of water, out of food, and literally moments from death. He has a great working relationship with the Border Patrol there, and we would like to share all that with you. So, with no further ado, here is our interview with Dr. Vickers.
I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic.
Hello, American Patriots. Douglas Ducote here. We're blessed to be able to come up here and meet with Dr. Vickers. He owns land here. He's one of the gentlemen that helps out with the Border Patrol, helps spot where the people are at and let them know where they're at to apprehend them. Thank you, sir, for
Sure, you bet.
allowing us
We
to
appreciate
come
your
out.
interest and spread the word.
Yes, indeed.
Border is still open. The Border Patrol need more resources. The sheriff's departments along the border, especially these counties, one county up, and these rural counties like ours, and adjacent counties. The county next to us only has like 400 population. It's a very small sheriff's department. The county west of us, maybe 3,000 people, small sheriff's department, but they have these checkpoints. And so the landowners and the people who live in these counties have a lot of serious issues with smuggling on their private property. So the sheriff's department need more federal funding to handle this. And these checkpoints and these counties that have checkpoints need more agents to be able to respond to the traffic.
And you figure how many people you think in a year you guys are actually saving their life?
We have a lot. I don't think we've ever put a figure on it, but we've saved a lot of lives. Got Border Patrol Borstar in to help them if they're dehydrated or we find them passed out, sick. Some of them have made it, some of them haven't. Right, after some of them, a few of them have died after they got to the hospital. But we're out here diligently looking to try to help these people that are left behind, and try to help the Border Patrol and the Sheriff's Department get the people that leave them there apprehended.
Gotcha. And so folks, he's going to take us out on the property. He's going to show us some things. and look at some of the fencing that's been, that they're just mowing down. They come into where the checkpoint is, they drop them off, they go out, spread out across the roads into the private property to try and get past that checkpoint and then get picked up. And that's where these guys come in at, where they try and see where they're at on their land and make sure that they don't get very far and they get apprehended. And if they need medical help, they give them medical help and call in medics and whatnot. And and the Border Patrol comes and intercepts and takes it from there. So without gentlemen like this, well, we would have even a way worse problem than we already have, because they're able to stop a lot of that traffic. So from here, we're going to go out and shoot some more video. And sir, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Oh, absolutely.
We
appreciate your interest, and appreciate your willingness to spread the word on how bad it really is.
Yes, sir. All right, folks.
Y'all want to see anything here? We actually have enough room here. We've got this trailer. We got a bunkhouse here, a little bunkhouse there, and this trailer here, we can sleep 30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we can sleep 30. Got bunk beds and everything. It's pretty comfortable. And if you want to take a peek in here.
Take a quick look. When is your next op?
I'm sorry?
When is your next op?
Hang on just a minute. Let me get this out of the way. Holler at me when you get out there and I'll come over there.
Yes.
Okay, good deal.
How many damn buses it was? Me and my grandpa used to put them drains down to
You were asking me something. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but there's a couple of ranch hands. They got some stuff going on for us today. So
when's your next op? You guys, what do you do? One a month?
deer season's going on right now. Unless we call a special op, we usually average one. We just finished one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Usually we'll try to have an op every month, but sometimes we've had as many as 3 a month. It depends on the traffic.
Okay.
Probably, it may not be January, maybe February, but we may have a special op in January on some other property that's already, the traffic's picking up.
Gotcha.
Now, is there a busy season, or is there a rhyme and reason to that, or
What's that?
Is there a busy season with traffic, or did they change it up?
It's busy all the time, but usually October and March are peak months. Anyway, this is some of the vehicles we use. We have horses. We don't use horses quite as much anymore, but we cook out. This is kind of a kitchen area, bathroom and showers. We have these Polarises. We've got some other ones that are in the shop, and a lot of people bring their own ATVs and stuff. So a lot of guys have their own ATVs. That's a little bunkhouse right there. And this one here, I think each one of them 6. I think the big trailer over there is more, but we can sleep 30 here. So anyway.
Sir, you got a bathroom in here?
Yeah, right through there.
Right here?
Hit the light.
Let's see you piss on the electric.
Y'all want a water?
I just got one, thank you.
Here you go.
You want water? Yeah.
Where y'all from?
I live in a little north of Nashville.
Oh, really?
Doug's in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
I live up by Kima, Galveston area.
We have volunteers from about 9 or 10 different states. We have a vetting session you have to go through with one of our veterans. He's a retired naval guy. And after that, when you come down for your first op, you go through a video session to see how we operate. And then we kind of babysit you for the first 3 or 4 ops that you come down. You go out with some veterans and you get to learn the lay of the land. And then on some of the properties that are out in other counties and stuff, it may be a year or 2 before we get you in there, because we don't want you to get lost or get in a bad situation. So, the veterans, we have veterans that watch some properties that are more dangerous than others until we get...
You say vets with you or vets?
Veterans.
Service?
No.
Okay.
veteran border volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah. These are just some pictures. Over the years, we have a specific uniform we use, kind of like a Navy SEAL. This is Sheriff T. Michael O'Connor. He is the head of the Coastal Sheriff's Association, 25 different sheriffs, 25 different counties. They came down here and had an operation with us. We had the Border Patrol south of here, we had us in the middle, and they were up north of here with their SWAT team guys to get some experience on what we do. And it was a very successful operation. They had their helicopters. We got, you know, some groups busted. They were really excited about it. Should be one in here with Colonel McCraw. He's head of Homeland Security. It's probably in there in the bathroom.
Yeah, I would know him.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what we find. That one, the dogs drug her head up in the yard. This one right here with the bones. She had a broken tibia. She didn't break that walking around out here. Somebody beat her up, broke her leg, left her there to die. And the dogs drug her head up here in the yard. I've got a picture of that too. So anyway, she had a big hair, big mass of red flowing red hair. Anyway, that's just some pictures taken during some of our operations.
Is this a map of this area here?
That's just a map of this ranch.
Oh, this ranch.
Yeah, but we have, I'll show you here you go. You want one of these?
Thank you.
Did I give you one?
I got one.
Oh, do you?
Thank
Okay. We have cases and cases of maps of all the areas that we watch and all the areas that we scouted years ago. And, you know, we have them in files in here, if y'all want to come on in.
How long have you been doing this?
This is our 14th year. We started in actually late 2005, but then we really.
So was that when the Minutemen were kicking off?
Yeah, we were Minutemen. A lot of us were Minutemen first, and then we became Texas Border Volunteers September 2006. So September of 2020, well, it'll be 14 years. So we're already in our 14th year.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, that was when Lou Dobbs was on CNN covering
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. And it was
Yeah.
Chris Simcox and Jim Gilchrist.
This is
There's fighting going on.
This is night vision equipment. Those files down there are maps. We've got computers here, the phone system tied into the Border Patrol. And then we have some other equipment we bring in too. But, and these are maps and files and stuff like that.
And
Maps.
you get a lot of snakes.
Yeah. So, anyway. Let's go make that run.
All right.
Rattlesnakes on the roof. Did you see them on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Some of these people get snake bit. Yeah, it's not marijuana. It was either, I can't remember if it was cocaine or methamphetamine. We ended up catching them. We had like 8 camera hits on these guys during the month of June a few years ago. But the main thing, this is a drawbridge camera that we put out. And we drove right by it coming over here. This is a dead body. This one was 50 yards from my front gate that we came in here down north. There was a crawl hole under the fence that she could have crawled under, but she laid up against a tree and died. No shoes on, that's the way she was right there. That's a sock on her right foot, scraped up where she's been running through the brush or trying to get through the brush, and she was one that they walked off and left out there.
And an empty.
Yeah, she had a little Spanish Bible. We think she was a Guatemalan or something. No ID. A lot of the smugglers will take, when they die or they lay down to die, they'll take their ID so that they won't be able to trace them to that particular smuggler. It's a routine thing. Most of them we find do not have an ID.
Yeah.
This is a guy. This is the guy that's a Mexican street gang. He was leading a group of 12, probably about a mile and a half out here. And the dogs, Linda put the dogs on them with the border patrol there, and the dogs held them, and the agents went in to make an apprehension, and this guy took 2 of them down. You know, he put up a fight, and the dogs went in there and took care of him. And he had that Mexican street gang on him, tattoos. This is a guy. That pistol, he's a pistolero. Mexican street gang working for the cartels. The significance of this one, this guy, we thought he was dead. We found him, and he was barely breathing, face down in the sand. He'd collapsed. We rolled him over, poured water on him, and he came to a little bit. Poured 4 bottles of water down him. Called the Borstar unit of the Border Patrol. That's the guys that come out and put IVs in them and help resuscitate him and get him to a hospital. And they ran an IV on him for about an hour, and then he was able to come to, and they hauled him off. And after they left, we started scratching around in the dirt, and while they were had their heads turned, he buried his billfold, and we found it. And it had a lot of important information. It had 21 contacts in it at statewide for smuggling contacts and other coyotes and stuff. He was a coyote, but he also had his deportation papers where he had been deported from Polk County, Texas. That's up in the piney woods of East Texas, from Livingston, Texas, 2 months prior. So he was smuggling, he was coming back in here. A lot of them do that. Yeah. They get deported and then they come back. Talking to the DPS about this one, they busted a marijuana growing farming operation in that national forest in Polk County, Texas, and raided it. I think they burned up 33,000 plants and caught these guys. You know, they put a drone over them and sneaked in there and caught them all. State did. Gotcha. Texas Rangers did. And that he was part of that operation. So, knowing the way things are now, he's probably back again. You know. Right. He probably did a little bit of time. Usually, when they're deported a couple of times and they're involved in a smuggling operation or drugs or something, they'll get 8 months in the penitentiary. We've had some like that. They were sneaking back in here. They put up a fight. I mean, they want to try to hurt you. Yeah. So we have to defend ourselves. But we've never shot anybody or anything, but we've come close.
How often do you have any of them that actually have a weapon on them?
Most of them, by the time they realize that they're fixing to get caught, they'll bury that weapon. But we find a lot of them, 25 calibers. You can go on our website, the Tangle Blast is one of the biggest gangs in Texas that work with the cartels. Houston's full of them, all these cities are full. They all carry a stiletto, it's like a spear point, razor sharp, so they stick somebody, you bleed to death, you know. They all carry those. We've taken those off of them.
Gotcha.
You know. And after we got this guy hauled off, we go another 200 yards and we find this guy. They're all looking for the pearly gates when they die, and he's what we call a crispy critter. It's probably been like that about a week. A lot of them, the bones are scattered, you know, the varmints and wild hogs.
Right.
coyotes, buzzards, Mexican eagles, or the caracaras. Take care of them. And we have mountain lions here. And we know those mountain lions are getting some of them before they die. Or if they're weak and lagging behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've actually got some video footage more than once. We've probably had 20 mountain lion sightings over the years, 20 or 30. But we had a group on one of our operations that there were 8, and they buried up in what we call Sacawista. It's like salt grass. I'll show you some here in a little bit. And we got 5 of them caught. It was late in the afternoon, about 5:30, 6 o'clock. Got the Border Patrol in there. We dug them out. And I mean, that stuff, you can walk from here to you and you can't see them. They'll get buried up underneath that stuff. So we knew there were 3 left out there. So we put a team out there that night. And at 10:30, a mountain lion came out about from here to the tree right there, going through all that Sacawista looking for that human scent, looking for one of those guys.
Right.
So we know that mountain lions are, and we have one east of here about 10 miles on a ranch that they found a young male with both of his shoulders eaten off, had mountain lion tracks there, and they found the bones about another mile down the fence line. So you know, they're taking a bunch of these people out, and we don't find them.
Yeah.
They gobble them up. And the rats and everything carry the bones off. So we find about 20% of them. So that 700 plus figure is probably 5 times that big. If you talk to Benny Martinez, our sheriff, he's got 2 books that thick of missing person reports.
Wow. Yeah.
And we know what's happening, you know.
Yeah.
The Dreamers, when Obama said, oh, we're going to let the Dreamers come and da-da-da-da-da, yip, yip. It was like overnight we started seeing these groups of young people coming in, you know, 20, 30, 40 in a bunch. Here's another group. These are all Hondurans. This is after the Border Patrol handcuffed them, and we're watching them for them because there's still some out there running around there. So we took some pictures. Dreamers. That's who, they say there's over 1 million of them. There's probably 10 million of them here.
Right.
You know, and the significance of that, these Democrats want to give them everything.
Right.
And they're all criminally minded. Most of these young males are gang members in either one of those 3 major countries, El Salvador, Honduras, or Guatemala. They've got the tattoos, and they become a gang member when they're 7 or 8 years old, or they don't survive.
Right.
And they're bringing that mentality into our country. That's why there's so many of them dead that you guys are the Remembrance Project.
Yeah.
And we encounter them here. We have some of them put up a pretty good, well, we've got some trained guys that put them on the ground.
Good.
Nobody knows that, but you know, we're not going to let anybody get hurt.
Right.
And we've had some gun encounters, you know, over the years, but we've never had a shot fired. But we always call what we call a code black. We back off. I don't want anybody to get shot out here.
Right.
And we get the Border Patrol. They come in, and they come in ready. And sometimes we catch them, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But they usually get rid of those firearms.
Is it more? Do they move more at night or in the day?
Yeah,
or
but they move in the daytime too. More so at night, especially during moonlit nights. And then we try to plan our operations when the moon's up. We have more success.
Right.
But they're coming all the time. I can show you a little video clip of one of these cameras just 2 days ago, just west of here, about 8 miles. Anyway.
Well, yeah, we saw those 2 as we were driving in that were.
How's that?
Here it is, high noon, you know.
Anyway, it gets pretty western. It's not for the weak of heart to be a border volunteer, you know. But all of our members are looking out for what's the best interest of our country. We need to should have shut it down 3 decades ago.
Right. Right.
Then I just wanted to ask you to put in context. So you were saying usually when they're coming up between McAllen and Brownsville, they're coming up 281 and getting dropped off anywhere between 10 and 30 miles south of the checkpoint.
That's right. Sometimes a mile from the checkpoint. What I want to do is load y'all up and we'll go, I'll take you down to we're going to go back through the checkpoint. I'm going to show you how significant the traffic is and what kind of an impact it has on a rancher's property.
Okay.
Okay.
And let me see, did I show you this one? Oh, this one. This is an emergency station that the Border Patrol put out that probably costs a minimum of $65,000. You can read it. And I'll take y'all and show you one of these. If you need help, push the red button, help will arrive, do not leave the area. English, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese.
I need to put
these Chinese have been coming since the 90s.
Wow.
Since the Clinton administration. And they get to stay. They put them in the, like this checkpoint is rigged up with a computer system. They can interrogate them, ask them something in English, and the computer translates it in Mandarin Chinese.
Wow.
We had a group just 2 ops ago, and they didn't have a coyote with them. They had some kind of a device on a pole for checking the stars and where they were and everything. I mean, it was some kind of technology, and our guys were from here to your truck embedded, and they were sitting there chattering away in Chinese, and after about 30 minutes they took off, and they had that thing look, you know, what it was.
Well, we're gonna have to start putting that in Muslim writing here soon, because we've been here.
Oh yeah,
a whole bunch
we've caught a lot of Pakistanis and Muslims, and you know
they got a bunch of Iranians.
Yeah, we had one group of 16. It had like 7 Pakistanis, a couple of other Middle Easterners, 2 Chinese girls that were about 23 years old that spoke fluent English, and at that time they were paying $50,000 to come in here each. Now they're paying over 70.
Wow.
The Central Americans are all paying about average of 7,000 to come in here. And what they've done, we've interviewed them, they've given up to us or been left behind, we rescue them, you know, we, save a lot of lives out here. And they, what they'll do in Honduras, Guatemala, or El Salvador, they'll mortgage their home to a cartel loan shark for 30% interest, get the money to pay the cartels to come in here, and if they don't pay a significant portion of that back in 90 days after they get here, they go in there and kick the family out on the street and sell it to somebody else. That's how they get it. A lot of these people get their money.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Anyway. Let me, y'all want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll stop on the highway and let you look at all that.
Okay.
Here it is. This right here. This is just 2 days ago.
Let's see.
About 8 miles west of here.
Wow.
I'm trying to get the shadow out of it. Yep.
What was that, a trail cam you had set up?
Yeah. This looks like a game trail camera.
Yeah. What do you see more of, drugs or human trafficking?
Human traffic. They make more money on humans now than they do the drugs. We see both, but the human traffic. The Bangladeshis and the Indians are paying like 22 to 27,000. They fly them into Brazil, and then they fly into Monterey and get it, get with a coyote. We've actually, we've saved a lot of them. We had one situation where the Bangladeshis and guy spoke English with a British accent. Said, "By chance, could you order us a cab out here?" I said, "Sure. If you see this cab, this cab's going to show up with blue and green. It's our favorite color. the special cab company, and when the Border Patrol show up.
They'll have a tea,
Yeah.
trumpets for you.
Let me show you these bugs. This is just yesterday. See those jugs under there? Right through there? Yeah, that's where they laid up. A couple of them stayed in that observation blind. See those jugs?
Yep.
I made a round today. I found 2 other layups that were probably 3 or 4 days old or less. This is now that fence is hot right there too, but see this crawl hole right here?
Oh yeah.
There's a big slab of cement on the other side. We pull it around and put it underneath that crawl hole, and they pull it out. And you know, this event happens 5 or 6 times a week, and that's probably the traffic from yesterday. And that you can't hardly see that slab of cement, but it's a big boulder, you know, and we put it underneath there, and that's kind of how we monitor how recent the traffic is, you know, because it's a game trail too. The wildlife go underneath that fence, and they'll wipe out the human prints occasionally.
Has anybody come up to your house and either tried to break in or?
Oh yeah, they broke into my house before. We have the dogs there now, and since we've had those dogs there over the past 20-something years, we've had dogs that keep that from happening. But yeah, they did $1,900 worth of damage to steal $3 worth of food. I just had a deal here, and I'll show you some pictures. 3 weeks ago, a guy that was an escaped convict from Beeville, Texas, loaded up a group in the valley, and he had them in his toolbox, and it was a work truck. It was a 2007 Chevy crew cab with a big bumper on it, a ranch hand bumper. And he pulls up, I think he had 4 or 5 in it. It had 3 in the back seat and the bottom of the floorboard hiding, and then he had 2 in the, well, the Border Patrol, the dogs hit on it, and they pull him over to secondary, but they didn't get him out of the truck. But a couple of the agents popped those toolboxes, and there were two guys in there. So he floorboards his truck, and here he comes, 80, 90 miles an hour, probably 100, and then he gets here, and he comes right through here and goes right through this gate right here. Completely demolishes this gate. This is a brand new gate. It's been in operation less than 2 weeks. And it's designed so they can't climb over. But you know, I have a remote system for opening it. $5,000 worth of damage there. Then he took the road to the left and went through another metal gate, and then went about a half a mile, the Border Patrol in hot pursuit, and went through a net wire fence, took out about 75 to 100 yards of that net wire fence. All total, over $8,000 worth of damage, almost 9. And it took out this remote system. It jammed it. I had to completely replace the whole remote system, $2,500, $1,300 worth of welding, and $900 and something worth of parts. So, right at $5,000 worth of damage.
Wow.
I've got a picture of that truck. Somewhere. No, I think it's in the other phone. Anyway. We're going to run down here south of the checkpoint so I can show you. This is the pickup zone, and down there is the drop-off zone. I'm going to show you what these ranch fences look like down there. And mine would look like that here if I didn't have that electricity on them. So you have a website?
Yes, sir. DouglasDucote.com.
Uh-huh.
And we do videos through there and the TV show through there, plus we broadcast on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook.
So obviously with the new 2019 CBD border crossing numbers coming out, I mean, they're saying it's 68% worse than last year. Worse it's been since 2007. They're admitting to like 1.2 to 1.4 million having crossed. 850,000 of that they estimate illegally. Now, what do you think?
Well, I know for a fact that they're not catching them all. They don't have the manpower to do so.
Yeah. What kind of solutions do you recommend?
They could shut that border down. Actually, National Guard, put them down there and let them do their own protocol. That works. Actually, they did that back during the Bush administration. They put the Army down there. They had like a 40-mile stretch. Border Patrol didn't go in there. They just wanted to try it out. And they'd arrest them at gunpoint, put the handcuffs on them, call the Border Patrol to come pick them up. Shut that part of the border down for 40 miles in each direction besides the 40 miles in the middle.
And where was that? Was that down there?
It was down here in Starr County, west of McAllen. And that's what we need to do. The Border Patrol do not have enough resources to shut this border down.
Yeah.
We need at least another 150 agents just in this foul, furious sector. We've got 400 agents here right now. We need another 150 to be able to police the brush, report, respond to the traffic.
Yeah, we only have 7,000 interior ICE agents across the whole country. So if you estimate 20
we loan them our night vision equipment. Well, they'll come out and they 4 agents might have one piece, and we'll give them our night vision equipment, or we'll accompany them and point out where these guys are. There they are, buried up over there, and they'll go in and make the apprehension. So they don't have the resources and the equipment and the manpower to get it done.
Well, that's something that...
and that's not the president's fault, it's Congress.
But that's something Doug had recommended back in April after his second trip.
Yeah.
Was, National Guard across the whole border. I mean, and we talked to Chris Cabrera yesterday.
Yeah.
Vice President of the Border Patrol Council.
He's a good one, too.
He was on board with it. He said to Douglas, I'd be 100% behind that as long as they're under federal command and they have the right to bring their weapons and they can actually play ball down here, because there's no point otherwise.
This has been a number of years ago when this Army project happened, but when Governor Perry put the DPS, Texas Department of Public Safety, down here, they're still coming down, but not to the extent that they used to. It made a significant difference. Put them on all the back roads coming up from the border. It shut a lot of the traffic down.
That was great. Well, yesterday we went to, and Chris Cabrera confirmed it. So we were over at University of Texas, Rio Grande at Brownsville. And it goes right up against the Rio Grande, the entire back. There's no border fence. They come right up into the college campus. We found clothes, where they ditched their wet swimsuit and changed there. We found a Middle Eastern headscarf neatly placed, hanging on a branch came out, talked to Border Patrol. They confirmed they had captured a group of Iranians within the last 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, no, we found Sudanese dinars, all kinds of Middle Eastern money over the years. We turned it over to the FBI, called the Border Patrol, but turned the money over to the FBI. Should have kept it because it didn't make any difference who you gave it to. You know, they weren't going to be able to do anything. It just establishes a point that they're coming.
Right.
You know.
Well, that's what it seemed like when Mike spoke with a Border Patrol agent there on the campus and showed him the headscarf, and he confirmed the Iranians and had said to Mike, well, basically as soon as we got them, some black suits came to pick them up. We didn't even know who they were really, so that probably was FBI.
See this fence, bent T-post? That's where traffic's climbing over. Right there, to run across the highway and get picked up. Right here by the checkpoint.
Oh, so some of them will get picked up right over here.
Oh yeah. Just,
Are they turning themselves in, or are they just
no,
lost?
no. They've got somebody coming through the checkpoint to pull over 300 yards from the checkpoint and load them up.
They're trying to run around it.
And some of them, the family units or with a minor, you know, you're seeing the numbers going up. They will turn themselves in because they get processed and released most of the time now, with an order to show up in court 7 years later. So now, as far you said you've been doing this roughly 14 years. At this stage, just in what you guys do, have you seen the flow increase, decrease? Do you see it better or worse now, or the same? Or
It's better than it was. 2014, 2013, 14, we were encountering groups over 100 a couple of times. You can go on our website. It was March of 2013. We had a group of 110 that were, I should have showed it to you. Right there, a mile north of the checkpoint, we videoed it. We were right there. I mean, they were 20 feet from us. Videoed it, and that was back during the sequester when Obama parked all their four-wheel drive vehicles, cut out all their overtime, had no brush crews after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, it put us on our own. You know, we were on our own.
that was all during the time when he closed down all the
we had no air support. He shut down all the helicopter air support for the Border Patrol for 8 months. All of this. He completely compromised everybody that lives along the border's lives for 8 months because he shut the Border Patrol down.
And then couple that with the DACA program, and if people remember the time when all the illegal children were coming here by the tens of thousands on the top of trains.
Yeah, anyway, 2 agents, they were able to come out and follow that group because it was such a big group. You know, it was like a herd of cattle coming, you know, and they were able to track them down and get some agents in there. And see, Suburban comes over here, pulls over here just like this. Look at the fence.
Yeah.
This guy built this fence back, it's been about 4 years ago, and it looked like this in a week. He spent thousands of dollars to build that fence back and just completely demolished.
Now, is that one electrified like yours?
No.
And where we are, we're out here anywhere from 300 yards to 12 miles out here trying to intercept that traffic and get Border Patrol in there to get it caught. See that's where 20 people go over that fence, bend that T-post. This is all the way to Encino. This goes for 12 miles. The fences look like this. Now see how, this is the King Ranch over here on the other side.
Okay.
See how close those posts are together? And it's a short King Ranch fence. The top wire is a real heavy gauge, heavier than the other sections down below it. and then the posts are real close together. That way they can't compromise that fence like they do a fence like this. This is a big game fence. They still come across the other side just like they do here. They'll pull over and dump them out there. But the fence isn't compromised to the degree that this one is.
Yeah, so they're coming up the other way, dumping them. They jump over one of these fences.
Yeah, they drop them off on this side. They drop them off on this side. If a border patrol come out here and try to chase them around, they'll go back across the highway. We caught a group during our last two ops ago that I think there were 19 in it, 16 or 19, I can't remember. And they came from across the highway. We got the border patrol on them over here, but we had people on both sides of the highway. And we caught 3 of them ourselves. Our guys caught them and put them on the ground. They came over my fence, got shocked. They came over my fence and got a little vibration in the process, and our guys put them on the ground.
Yeah, so people now you'll be coming up the other direction.
Yeah, they're all coming
south to the north.
Coming from the
jump
south.
over here, they disappear into these people's property and try to come out the other side.
That's right.
And you said, and depending on where they dump them, you know, they can be making a 10 to 40 mile journey up through here.
That happens. Depends on the Border Patrol presence south of the checkpoint, where they've got agents stationed on the highway to try to intercept traffic. But yeah, they hand it off. They'll drop off some traffic down here on 490. Y'all crossed 490 just north of Edinburgh before you got to Salmon Well, okay? They'll drop them off there, and they'll go 10 miles across country, and then somebody picks them up on 1017 and brings them up here to 755, which is 4 or 5 miles up the road here. Actually more than that, maybe 8. And drop them off again, and here they come again. You know, coming through here or coming through this other side over here. See the fence?
Yeah. So they have, yeah, so they've got.
See how?
Yeah, it's all knocked over.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just.
See how it's almost knee high right there?
Yeah.
This is a big ranch. It's like 19 or 20,000 acres. This guy can outrun cattle on his ranch for this very reason right here.
Yeah, so once these guys are able to sneak in across.
See there? Step over it
destroyed,
here.
Yeah.
You were saying, I'm sorry.
So once they cross the Rio Grande,
they're picked up.
They're
picked up right there at the levee. Did y'all get to see the levee? They pick them right there. Pick them up on the river bank or at the levee, and bring them up this way.
And the levee is in what?
It's like a big water canal. You know, it runs parallel with the river, and it's a flood canal.
Oh, okay, yes.
You probably saw it, but didn't know what it was.
So they, so they get picked up. So once they get inside the country, then there's a network of runners that pick them up and move them to different areas, safe houses, and then work them
Smuggling operation picks them up,
and then basically once they get past this checkpoint, and if they get past your property,
they get picked up again,
and then they're good to go out.
Then they're home free.
Yeah. You know. So once they can get 100 miles inland, then they're ready to go. And they're off and running.
Okay. What sheriff's office is this?
Oh, did they just call?
Sheriff Martinez.
What do you got? You got
What
Benny?
sheriff department is it?
Yeah. Are they calling for you? So you can meet with them?
I'll tell them.
Yeah, you need to go interview Benny.
Emails or text message?
Wait, hold on. It's Brooks. Hang on, I got the headphones on. It's Brooks County. Sheriff, did he just call you? Or did Chrissy tell you?
Yeah, but he wants to meet at 2, and we're not going to be there
Well,
at 2.
we'll go back to the
We're doing
house.
this.
I was going to take you and show you one of these emergency stations, but you saw a picture of it.
Reading it now.
Oh, okay. I thought he wasn't available. He is?
He's somebody you need to interview. Benny's a good guy, I'll tell you. He's got a lot of issues to take care of here. All the dead bodies, all the missing person reports, all the 911 calls that actually go to the Border Patrol, but he has to follow up on them too. And you know, I'm trying to get through Senator Cruz and some of the others up there, Cornyn, to get these counties, one county up like Brooks County, that have a checkpoint, considered a border county, because this is ground zero, so that they can get grant money to enhance their capabilities. It's a small, he's got a very small force. Any given 8-hour period, he might have one deputy to cover 1,000 square miles.
Wow.
So he needs more resources too, and we're trying to get that done for him.
Excellent.
He's a good guy. He's my sheriff, and you know, we support him.
Very cool.
Now he won. I read his background. So he was a state trooper.
Right.
And he worked with the sheriff's department.
That's right.
And, he's been sheriff since 2017. Now, is he? Have you guys seen? Has he got a new battle plan, new strategy that he's working on?
We get him a lot of vehicles. And you need to go over there. You can see all those vehicles at the sheriff's department. Sometimes there's 300 or 400 vehicles there. 18-wheelers they've popped with full of drugs and people. You know, we've had these vehicles coming through during our operations, and we'll light them up or something. Everybody bails out, leaves a vehicle there, and Benny gets it. You know.
Now, any of these kind of organized smuggling, whether it be drugs or humans, you know, with the different runners and cars, trucks that pick them up. What do you think that is? Is that a cartel run from one end to the other end?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Is that cartel run from one end to the other end? So helping them get over the border, and then the different cars or trucks that'll pick them up.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's just like this truck that ran through my place.
Yeah.
Benny did the investigation on it. The plates, it was a 2007 Chevrolet Silverado. Benny did and DPS did a trace back on the plates. The plates belonged to a 1995 Crown Victoria or something like that. They were able to get the VIN number and find out who it belonged to, and it was a local guy that sold it to somebody he didn't know for cash. You know, it's just, and it didn't have any insurance. It had a current sticker, but the sticker was bogus. It was a counterfeit sticker, inspection sticker. So now